I pay 40%. I pay 0.16 mils for streetlights. 40% of what you're proposing here for a millage rate. So I mean, as we add more taxpayer pockets here, we should be able to reduce the cost below 0.4 mils.
I think we will be able to reduce costs. I said that earlier.
Well, basically, what the gentleman just now saying, you're saying people with over half a mile away don't benefit. They still drive through town to go home, and they're still getting the benefit of those street lights.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, I'm like most people on the highway. I see no benefit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Also, the emergency vehicles need those lights when they're coming out to your house. We've had them out 5 times, and they need to see where they're turning.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I kind of feel that, you know, everybody, not necessarily on the other side of the lake because they don't have any lighting, but everybody on the west side of this township benefits in some way from those lights. And I think that it should be across the board. Everybody on the west side should get a portion of that bill. And I think that would bring in a whole lot bigger tax base, and that mill or whatever it is, quarter of a mill, would go way down.
Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to be heard? Yeah.
I'm Larry Lutz.
Yeah.
I'm close to the border of Mullett Lake, just from Mullett Township, excuse me, just across the Tuscarora border. There are no lights on our road that are in Mullett Township. So there are no lights that are servicing us. We have been paying the assessment tax in the last 4 years, relative, if I compare it all to the $15 average or whatever. And I'm not big on whether it's 15% or whatever it is. But if you use that as an example, we've been pretty heavily assessed in comparison to that. If there are no lights within the Mullett Township that are servicing us, is that worth consideration for withdrawal from the area?
I think you're already out of it, my friend. Clayton said he's gone. So thank you for the 4 mills for 4 years.
Actually,
oh, they're going to correct this year to last year.
It's actually been since 1985.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. This is, if you've already spoken once, we're not going to repeat it, so we'll do it, these two, but that'll be the last time you'll speak, okay?
We're going on a percentage of assessed value. Each year, your assessment's going to go up, just by the law of nature. So your pool of money is going to go up every year. Your power consumption should not, if managed correctly. What happens with all that excess? Will it go down every time?
Yeah, once a year, we can reassess the assessment. And that's what I mentioned earlier. If we have more money in the pool than we don't need to assess. So, and it's by law that we have to turn that money back. That can't go into the county. So that's exactly what we'll do. And I think you will find already, because the district's wider, that the percentage is going to go way down. I mean, I don't know what it is, and we're waiting for the numbers from Rachel, but I'm pretty sure it's going to go way down. Yeah.
I had one more question.
Yep.
If in fact in the future they want to add lights or change them in some way, move them or whatever, does that warrant another meeting like this for the people that are in this district? Because I don't want more lights. You know, I want to make sure that people that, I don't know, 100 and some more properties say, hey, if I'm going to pay for it, I want a light down here and I want a light up there.
Right.
And so I'm thinking this is going to change things for us inadvertently that we don't want.
Got it. I don't know the answer to the question. I'm going to defer to Tim. If we want to add to the lighting district, do we have to have another public hearing?
Well, we want to add lights.
That's what I'm saying. Add lights to lighting district.
Okay. Well, there's 2 parts to the question. Number one, if they're going to add a new area to the district, they absolutely would have to have another hearing. So if somebody is not in the district now and 2 years from now they want to be in the district, they would have to have another hearing to add those individuals or those parcels into the district. If the township board had a request from taxpayers to add 2 lights into the district, they could do that with the assessment that is being considered right now, because it is for lighting purposes. So additional lights that within the existing district, but again, that would be driven, I would assume, by property owners or residents of the township wanting there to be additional lights put into the district.
I'm saying, I believe 90% of the people that are here right now are here because they're concerned about more lights coming into the area. And if we can eliminate, or like this gentleman spoke, I don't see what the problem is with putting LED lights in, or at least shades or something like they have in any river coming across the bridge.
Yeah, I think we got that, and we really appreciate that comment. It's a good comment. Is there anything else that hasn't been said that people want to say? Okay.
Letter.
Oh, yeah, Rachel has some letter.
Thank you for your notice on the proposed lighting district. I noticed that you do not allow proxy votes for absent property owners who will have to pay for this service for permanent residents. That I object to and think it is more of a sure yes vote for the project. I have gone through 3 lawsuits to establish my lot's property lines, but the courts do not feel it is necessary that I know exactly where my property lines exist. I think this is ridiculous, as my neighbors have intruded on my lots and made my property unbuildable. Apparently, the Township Council does not feel that it is necessary to have its property owners know their correct property lines. I would strongly object to the proposed lighting district. Richard T. Greeley.
Okay. Sounds like he has a problem for the assessor to
or zoning.
Zoning or somebody.
Sounds like he's got a zoning problem.
Yeah. Okay, then I really appreciate all that information, and we will now close the public hearing and open our regular meeting of the board, where we will continue to talk about what we have to resolve at this meeting. So is there any public comment relative to any other subjects other than the lighting district?
Is this public comment now for the regular meeting?
That's what I said, yeah.
Other than the lighting district.
Other than the lighting district, we've already had that.
Around the park tonight, but I noticed on the top would be mail route. That road runs right to the lake.
Yep.
And those folks look like they're kind of closing in on that road. And just recently, there's some sort of kerfuffle about lake access down by Bob Snyder's. How wide is this access where that road hits the lake?
Geez, I don't know how wide it is. What are you thinking about with the mail route?
Well, I'm worried about public access to the lake right there.
Well, you have public access to the lake at the mail.
But it's closed in pretty tight.
Well, it is within the
Has it been
boundaries.
surveyed? Are there markers for the...
For the road?
She just mentioned that fella just surveyed his lot. Do we know how wide that road is down there? Is that marked? Because, I mean, they're in there quite narrow.
Yeah, it's a county road, but I'll definitely talk to the county. I'm going to talk to them on something else this week, so I'll be more than happy to talk to them about it. Survey. Okay. Any other public? Yeah.
Regarding the road commission, will there be a representative at the meetings that are coming up for the township?
Yes.
There will be.
Yeah, I go to those. I've every year have gone to those meetings.
Birchwood Road.
Yep.
I don't know if it's come up, but I talked to a roper 2 or 3 times before he disappeared and another guy takes over. When the new individual takes over right now, I don't know if we're going to move any further than what we did before I talked to him. But something needs to be done with that road.
And you're talking Birchwood going to the left or Birchwood going into the...
Birchwood going west to Richardson Road.
Yep.
We've had 2 bus breakdowns on that road since school started. and people are driving around that road just to stay off of it. Right now, it's drivable because the potholes have all filled in with ice and snow and all this good stuff, and it's packed down. But in the spring, when this thing breaks, you are not going to drive down that road. It's not safe.
Okay.
And it's a real issue as far as I'm concerned with the school.
Did the
Something
buses
needs to
break
be
down
done.
as a result of hitting potholes, or what?
It's potholes, and there's no ditch on the north side of the road. They put
Okay.
a ditch in on the south side, which seemed to me to be kind of stupid because the water runs from the north to the south, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So the water currently is running down the side of the road on the north side. There has to be a ditch put in there and it'll alleviate some of the problem.
Okay.
Not all of it, but some of it.
Yeah, well, that's great input, because that's exactly what they're looking for us to bring to them, and we do look at roads. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk it shortly, because we do look at which roads we need to work on and give to them. So, very good, thank you. Yeah.
I second what he just said.
Okay, great.
I live on that road too. It is terrible.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, Patty.
I just had one thing. I was here in December when you guys were talking about big projects you want to get going and doing, and then I didn't get to the January one because I was in Florida, and I had a comment from the December, but you can't talk until January, so I'd like to talk now. Up at the old schoolhouse, I know in the works it has been for 15 years. I would still love to see a thought about the library going up there, and a community center being in the basement so that we can start having book clubs and sewing and knitting and all these projects that people come in and say, why can't we do this or why can't we do that? And I just tell them, there's no room. There's no room for me to have people in the library to do that kind of stuff. So I really wish that you guys would still consider, because I know we've been considering it for many years, the library moving up there and the basement becoming a community center.
Okay,
Thank
thanks. We will definitely have that discussion at budget time. Any other, Carl?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my paperwork straight here. I've had some issues with the way the FOIA coordinator for Mullett Township is providing her services. She has some confusion between exempt and non-exempt material. If you're not redacting information that is exempt, then the labor cost should be $8.50 per hour. The other question I have, I usually submit a FOIA by email, and I make FOIA requests to other government bodies, county, township, school boards, all kinds of things. This is the only one that seems to hide behind a 20-page FOIA policy. When I send an email request, and I'm glad Tim is here, if the response can be done by email, I understand that the policy here sets down that it should be done by email. Rachel presently takes a position that even if it's only a $2 charge for documents, she sends out a worksheet by snail mail. And then I have to get a postal money order, and I've heard this from other people, you have to get a postal money order, which costs $1.50 nowadays. Then you have to mail it back to her. And then today she said she can send that information whenever she wanted, as long as she supplied the worksheet within 5 days. Now, that's clearly in violation of the FOIA law of Michigan. So I think that, of course, there's going to be a lot of amendments to the law starting July 1st. But at the same time, I don't know why any government body wants to hide behind a FOIA policy unless you're ashamed of the work you're doing or you're trying to hide the work you're doing. It should be open public documents. More and more into these Sheboygan County, I've encouraged the commissioners up there through the county administrator to publish more things online. The more things that are available, just like this meeting here in the Lighting District, the more things that are out there and open to the public, the less questions we have about what is going on and how is this done or how is that done or why are you doing that. A lot of this hearing could have been eliminated just by clearly and concisely saying what your plans were. But I do have an issue the way Rachel is complying with the stuff. Now, from what I can see, and maybe Tim could, I only see here on this page, Tim, where it says that a deposit is required if it's gonna be more than $50. But she demands payment before she mails anything, that's my question.
So I guess what is that what you want to have changed? I mean, what would you like to see?
I'd like to see you comply with the law and the policy that you adopted in May of 2011. I mean, Tim, I'm sure, spent a lot of money, or a lot of money drafting this policy. I'm sure it complies with the law, but if you don't comply with your own policy, why did you draft it?
Mm-hmm. Well, we definitely want to we want to follow the law, and I'm sure Rachel's trying to follow the law.
That's not what I hear from other individuals who have requested simple information that, they could have sent to maybe Tuscarora or the county or one of the school boards or whatever, a simple question, and typically you have the documents back by a PDF form that afternoon at no cost.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's that simple. If we want to make a job of it, then I don't believe that's the intent of the law.
Yeah, what I would propose that we do, because I have heard this from you a couple times, and not from anybody else.
I know I'm the complainer.
But that's okay. That's fine.
You just said it.
We do have a new FOIA law and new FOIA requirements coming out, which are much broader and do say a lot about email, do say a lot about speed, do say a lot about cost. And I think maybe the best thing that would be for the board, for all the board, and since you'll be here, is I've already asked Rachel, we need to have a review of that on the board, of what is the new FOIA policy, and we need to adopt it into our FOIA requirements. So, Rachel, I think, I know it has to be done by September, but if we could do it maybe in the next couple months, give the board an update on FOIA.
The law becomes effective July 1st.
I know, that's what I'm saying, in the next couple months, if we could have
You just said September, that's
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant July. If we could have a review of FOIA in the next couple months of the new law, that would get us all on the same page. Are you comfortable with that?
I've already talked to Tim about it.
You're comfortable with that, or you're not comfortable?
Well, no, I've already talked to Tim about it. We're going to work on it.
So do you want to put it on the agenda for the April?
How soon can we see an update?
Well, I would think April would be certainly doable.
Is April doable for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll put
I can't speak for,
we'll put it on the
for
April
your timetable.
We'll put it on the April agenda then.
And I have one other public comment on this, and trying to make public comment on an agenda here, which we don't know what will actually be discussed. It says here, Mullett Township policy on business hours to be approved. Now, is this going to be a set number of business hours at the township hall? Or?
Let me just have that quickly answered by Clayton. Clayton, do you want to ask why we have to do that?
That is that's a policy that's required by the State Tax Commission for my job, because we do not have regular business hours, and the township has to set some type of policy so the general public has a way of making contact with me and having access to the record card. That's basically all it is. It's just that they have something set in place so there is access to all my information.
But what my question was, and I think a couple other people had concerns about it, is, and I see it's fine as a few hours a week being available for somebody to stop into the office about any sort of inquiry, not just tax assessments or anything. But are we going to move this towards a part-time office position?
No. We're answering his need for a business hour for the assessor. That's all we're doing. So
okay.
let's not read anything into it that's not there. This is all we're doing. It's something that he has to have it by law, and we're going to meet the intent of the law in this situation. So that's all. Should take all of 2 minutes.
Budget workshop next week, so I wondered who was going to be looking for a raise next week. So that was my concern.
Okay. Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, we're going to close the public comment. Approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the January 6 minutes. Second?
Oh, just a minute.
Support.
Just a minute.
Oh,
Dennis?
John first.
John and Dennis.
Yep.
I couldn't.
All in favor?
And then
Aye. Opposed? Treasurer's report?
Okay. Treasurer's report as of January 31st, 2015. Today is February 3rd, 2015. In the general accounts, checking $49,665. The savings $49,854. Fire fund $323,316. Library fund $70,361. Light fund $32,394. Liquor fund $711. The top to be donations $1,508. Tax accounts, the savings $380,139. Checking $28.68. Investment accounts, the CDs $75,941. Fire CDs $125,273. The dedicated accounts, schoolhouse CD $137,330. Township park lots savings account $36,204. Hall renovation savings $30,954.
Okay, can we put those in the minutes? We're going to just finish a couple more and then go into the lighting district discussion. The expense report for January 2015.
The general fund 101, $11,654.90. The fire fund $6,263.40. Liquor fund $86.12. The light fund $12.07. Library fund $5,786.37 for a total for January $23,802.86.
Okay. Fire report. Mike?
We've been busy.
Okay, I see that.
We've had 14 runs in January. 8 of them ended up being assisted the ambulance. We actually had 2 hazmat gas leak situations, 2 kind of good intent, false alarm, cars in the ditch but nobody was there type calls, and then 1 actual vehicle accident and 1 snowmobile accident. As far as training, we were a little lighter this last month. One of the training nights ended up being our kind of picnic party. So I got an hour that we discussed the new county sheriff's tow truck plan and kind of how it affects us. You never really want to fight with cops. They got guns. And then we did another hour just inspecting our SCBA, making sure they were all up to snuff, all the batteries were good. And then I had 2 guys down here. We had a company come in and actually flow test the SCBAs because I'd rather find out they don't work here than in Vernon building. And that's what we did.
And then you've got 3 guys in firemen's training, right?
Yes. There's 3 in the countywide training that is usually here on these nights.
Yeah. I think it's just interesting to note there's 35 people taking countywide fire.
Most from our county, and there's a couple I think they brought over from Akiak and Yamaha.
Yeah, that's
it's a huge class.
Yeah.
I don't envy the instructors at all.
It's really great because downstate I went to a meeting on the fire, and they were talking about the biggest problem they're having throughout all the counties is getting volunteer fire department people, and we're how lucky we are to have the force that we have up here. It's really great. Okay, great. John, do you have a report?
I don't. I've had a computer problem. Rachel was aware of it. We've since got a hold of the guy who wrote the software. My computer's up and running now, but I didn't take time today to make a report. I think in January or December, I had 6 medical runs. A couple of them didn't make it, some did. I had training, 2 training sessions. Well, actually, one of my training sessions was a Christmas party also, which we had in the fire station. And the following Sunday, one of my firemen, the station was decorated, and they brought their family and did their Christmas party at the station. That took care of December. January, I think there's been 4 medical calls, no fire calls, and we've had 1 training session. 2 training sessions in January.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Next week, next month I'll have it turned up on my computer running again. The program back in. We couldn't find the person that we were getting the software from, and now we've located him. And he actually went online and took over our computer and straightened it out. He said he couldn't straighten it out, he'd be here in the morning.
Wow.
To fix it. So
that's great.
Back in the morning.
Great. Okay, now let's have a discussion on the lighting district. Tim, just for council, what decision do we have to make today? You were telling us we need the amount, we need the requirement of what we're going to do.
Right, I prepared a draft of an ordinance, of a resolution, excuse me,
Okay.
that I'll go through with the board. And there are some choices to make in here. The first part of the resolution basically just sets forth the fact that sets on the first page of the resolution, second paragraph, that's where the district is specified. And the district is described as 1/2 mile westerly and 1/2 mile easterly of that portion of M27, which is bounded on the northern boundary line by Inverness Township and on the southern boundary line at North Park Trail. And that was the notice that was given, and so I think the board has to determine if that is the district area that you want to include.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There was some discussion about going, township wide or going to all of the properties on the west side of the township, west side of the lake in the township. So if the board was considering either expanding that district or making that district smaller, then we would have to change the description that's contained in the resolution.
Okay.
So that would be the first decision that you'd have to make.
Okay, should we do that now, or should we, you want to go through this whole thing?
No, you can do these.
I would prefer to do it while we're right on
And
that
that's fine.
topic.
That's fine.
So what's...
I don't think you need individual motions on
No,
each of
I
these
understand
things,
it,
but
because we need the discussion.
Right, but
So
at the end,
this would be under a one motion, and we would just discuss under that motion.
right,
Right.
the whole resolution would
Right.
be under.
Yeah, one motion. Okay. There was discussion here, as Tim said, about the whole west side. That 1/2 mile was too far. We did change it from a mile to a 1/2 mile. So, what are people thinking about relative to this?
Well, there's a couple things. One is, do you want to assess the whole west side of the lake? One is, do you want to leave it a 1/2 mile? The other was, do you want to shorten it to a 1/4 mile? Because that's what I heard from the audience, that
Right.
some people don't think they benefit from it, even though they use 27, and streetlights are a safety issue, and it's also for emergency vehicles to get to your home or see where your streets are at. So I think there's a couple choices we have there. Is do we want to assess the whole township? We want to assess